What's going on? What's going on? I'm gonna give people some chances to get in here first. Pull up the stream. It's been a minute since I actually streamed. But yeah, this is gonna be pretty much about training camp, about what we're looking out for, because I think training camp is about 13 days away. What's going on, Jess Sodium Cat? What's going on, Rocky? Yeah, I just checked my last stream date. What's going on, Ash? If you still want to jump in, you can. I just checked my last stream date and it was June 6th. So I haven't streamed in over a month and a week. So that's a pretty long time. But yeah, training camp is coming up. I'm excited to see DJ get back out there, of course. I'm excited to probably see Kadarius Tony and whatever chemistry he's developed with Kenny Golladay. I'm excited to definitely see that. Those are probably those two connections that I'm looking for the most. Oh, that's cool, Ash. But yeah, those are the two connections I'm looking for probably the most. I mean, the DBs, it's going to be cool to see our two young slot corners compete against each other. That's going to be a nice battle in camp. We're going to finally see some pads. That's probably in about a month, because the pads don't go on for a while. But we got a lot to look forward to. There's going to be some actual football being played. I mean, not just complete, just mirror two-hand touch. I don't even think it's two-hand touch. It's less than two-hand touch that was going on in the OTA. So should be fun to finally see. But yeah, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to drop the link and I'm going to have some people call in. And, we'll do that for a little while. I'm not going to stay on for too long because it's not really much to talk about, which is why I haven't been streaming. But I'm ramping it up because in a couple of weeks, we're going to be going pretty much full tilt. Yeah, I'm excited to see the O-line too. But I'm probably more excited to see the defensive line. I'm probably more excited to see Ojulari and Odenigbo and see how they do once they put the pads on, of course, because it's kind of hard to evaluate the offensive line and defensive line, maybe more the offensive line when there's no pads. Because, even in shells, the defensive linemen, they're going to win on speed, and the offensive linemen, they really can't do what they would normally do in a game. So I'm definitely looking for that. I'm definitely looking for that offensive line, defensive line matchup. But I expect guys like Azeez Ojulari to win those matchups. What's going on, Greeny? But I expect them to win those kinds of matchups because there's not going to be like 100% hitting. Oh yeah, most definitely. But there won't be hitting, so you really are not going to be able to evaluate the offensive line until you see them do those one-on-ones against teammates. And I'm probably excited to see that Browns, they're going to have a scrimmage with the Browns. Not a scrimmage, but they're going to have a shared practice with the Browns, and they're going to have a shared practice with the Patriots. And then, of course, they're going to have that Fan Fest thing in August. So they're going to have pretty much three kind of scrimmage type things, but definitely going against the Browns. Andrew Thomas versus Myles Garrett, Matt Parrott versus Myles Garrett. For the Patriots, they don't really have crazy edge rushers, but at least they have Gilmore, a couple of good DBs. Cam Newton is a guy that's going to give us a different kind of a look. Mac Jones, we'll see how he does against our defense. I'm probably more interested to see how he does, just against our defense than I am to see of how he can test our defense. You think the offensive line will struggle? I just think it's like you said. I think it's all up to Andrew Thomas. If Andrew Thomas does what he's supposed to do and steps up and becomes that Pro Bowl caliber tackle within the next year or two, the rest of the offensive line will follow. You only need a couple of really good guys and then guys that you can just plug in. Yeah, I definitely think that Dave Gettleman has been really hitting it out of the park with everybody that he's brought in. I hope if Golladay doesn't hit 1,000, that's probably a disappointment. We're probably disappointed if Galladay doesn't at least hit 1,000. I'm looking for around 1,100, anywhere from 1,100 to 1,400 is where I will put my, put a bet. But I think Galladay is going to be looking for. I think he'll be up there. I'm interested to see how many touchdowns he'll have, though. That's what I'm interested to see. Is he going to be a guy that we actually use in the red zone because of his big body? I mean, I know he'll be a target there, but will he be a diversion, or will he be a? Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Is he going to be a diversion, or is he going to be someone that we really, purposely target? Because we haven't really had a red zone threat that we said, like, once we get in the red zone, we're going to throw it that way no matter what. Since probably, Odell, yeah, but we weren't really throwing phase to Odell. Before that, for about a season and a half, Larry Donnell was a guy that we always targeted in the red zone. But before that, as far as receivers, the last guy we had like that was Hakeem Nicks. Every time we got down there, we were able to throw a fade to him. And more often than not, he would come down with it. I mean, I remember one time where Charles Woodson had him one-on-one, and he just goes over top of Charles Woodson and just comes down with the ball. And Charles Woodson gave him he dapped him up. So we haven't had someone like that since Hakeem Nicks. So I wonder how we're going to use him in the red zone. Now let's get to Saquon, because I see people talking about Saquon, and I'm someone who's in the minority about Saquon as far as I'm in a wait and see. I know how good Saquon can be, but we're 2 years removed from that. He's coming off of his second year with injuries. And I'm not saying that I expect him to be like some horrible running back and to flame out, but I'm not going to place the expectations on him to be this, once in a generation running back when he's coming off of an ACL and he's 235 pounds and, he's got to come back from this, at least this first year. If Saquon can look like the player that he looked with when he was on a bad ankle, I think that's good progress. I really think that's good progress. And then that goes to it. I rather, it's kind of grimy to me. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the football team to go ahead and just wait for the contract to run out, franchise him 2 or 3 times, or I think you can do it twice. And then, after that, just trade him, or after that, let him walk. That's kind of grimy to me because, you're just using the guy's youth up and then he can't get paid somewhere else. But I don't know how the Giants will attack that. I think the Giants are going to give him a deal. If he doesn't look slow and injured and washed at this point, coming off of this ACL, I think if he has a big season this year, they'll give him a deal. I just think that's what the Giants do. I've never really seen them kind of, string somebody along and all of a sudden, just pull a deal out from under their feet. So just how it shows that we paid Kyle Rudolph a certain amount of money, and then we discovered that there was something going on with his ankle, and we had the chance to go back to the table and renegotiate. But we didn't. We just said, hey, that's the deal that we agreed to, and we're going to honor it. So I think that they're going to treat Saquon the right way as long as he looks like he's okay. Now, maybe they won't commit to a lot of guaranteed money if, he gets injured again. But I think they're going to offer him a pretty nice deal. Oh, yeah, it will be cheaper. But like I said, I think they'll take care of him. Because, doing that to a running back is kind of messed up. They should almost not be able to be franchised because it's kind of messed up. You shouldn't be able to a position that most guys are washed at 27 or 28, and you take them from 22 to 26 and franchise them and string them along for all that time, and then just cut them loose once they have their youth is gone. They can't make as much money at that point. They got to go to committee. I think that they're going to take care of Saquon. And then with Kadarius Tony, I'm definitely excited to see him. I'm definitely excited to see Kadarius Tony because the whole offseason, first off, half of the fan base has been really tearing Kadarius Tony apart because he missed some of the voluntary workouts. He was trying to get his contract down, which makes no sense. Imagine you get a job offer and all of a sudden, you don't sign a contract that says that if you get hurt on the job, on a dangerous job, that you won't get paid any money. So if that contract will protect you and make sure that you can get paid, but people will always have their own opinions. I think Kadarius Tony is going to be here to work. I think he'll be here to work, and I mean, just because he's making music and his free time doesn't mean that he's not ready to play football. He's not a quarterback, so he doesn't have to wake up thinking about football and not do anything but football. I mean, not even quarterbacks do that. Coaches probably do that, but Kadarius Tony will be just fine. I mean, he'll be just fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the right date for training camp, July 24th. Who do I think will lead the team in sacks? Now, that's an interesting question. Leonard Williams is definitely probably the favorite to lead the team in sacks. But at the same time, Leonard Williams is going to get a lot of attention. If you look besides Leonard Williams, you got guys, I would probably say Odenigbo, Azeez Ojulari. Those guys are candidates to get up there to like 8 or 9 sacks. They have that kind of potential. Lorenzo Carter, I'm not sure. We got to let that play out to see, first of all, if he's healthy, and second of all, if he can continue to develop into a really good pass rusher. But other than that, I mean, it's between Leonard Williams, Odenigbo, and Azeez Ojulari. I'm hoping it's Leonard Williams. We just paid him $23 million, but he's going to get double teamed, triple teamed, and all of that. So I'm still going to say Leonard Williams does it. I'm still going to say he does it because I just don't see anybody else getting double-digit sacks. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm definitely waiting for that. I'm definitely waiting for Daniel Jones to break out. But right now I'm going to drop the link into the chat, and I'm going to allow people to start calling in. My camera just went out for a second. But I'm going to allow people to start calling in. What's going on? I think I might have to switch to my webcam because the camera I have up here, which is actually my phone, it's connected to this by Wi-Fi, is ducking in and out. If it goes out again, I'll switch to my webcam. But what's going on? But Daniel Jones, we've been rehashing it, which is why I've kind of taken a break from uploading videos every day and streaming every week, because we can kind of talk about this over and over again and it'll get played out. At this point, we're all just waiting for him to get on the field. We're waiting to see what he does with all these new weapons. We expect him to take a big jump forward, and I just want to see that reflect himself and wins and efficiency. If Daniel Jones is taking care of the ball, if he is making plays when they need to be made and we're winning games, I don't care how many touchdowns or how many yards he has. I just need to see him make plays when they need to be made and really, make it exciting to watch Giants football. Put some pressure on the other team's offense to score some points, because it's really been abysmal, last year. And I blame Jason Garrett for a lot of that. I blame a lot of things for that. But at the end of the day, we've added some new weapons, and it's got to work. Oh, yeah, Nick Gates is going to have your back. If I had to pick one person to back me up in a fight, though, it'd probably be Dexter Lawrence. It'd probably be Dexter Lawrence, because just like if you have Dexter Lawrence coming down the street after, like you said, like this person is coming to back me up, they probably will run away. They'll probably just run away. I mean, you got a 6'4", 6'5", 340-pound guy just coming down the street. They'll probably just get out of there. That's usually what they do. Him or Danny Shelton. But Nick Gates is a good pick. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you have to go out there and win. Some people will be upset if the Giants go out here and win double-digit games and Daniel Jones throws 25 touchdowns. I just want to see the Giants win games, and when plays need to be made from Daniel Jones, he needs to make those plays. And he has all the tools to be able to do it. And you're in your third year, so I'm not going to be putting as much, stock into the scheme. It is important, but, sometimes you just got to make plays. So, yeah, Peppers looked like he could throw hands, but, I'd rather just go with the big guy that could just come over and absorb a lot of hits and fall on people and stuff. I think Dexter Lawrence could probably do that. Who's going to have the most yards? I think it'll be Golladay. Who's going to have the most touchdowns? I think it'll be somebody besides Golladay. I'm not sure. I don't know who to say yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be it could be Slayton. It could be Tony. I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't bet on Tony. But I think it'll be some like third receiver or second receiver besides Galladay, who just ends up getting, one or two more touchdowns than Galladay. Because you always expect these big physical wide receivers to get a bunch of touchdowns, but a lot of times they don't. See, Rudolph, one thing I'll say about Rudolph is, and I'm going to pull up his stats right here. If I look at Kyle Rudolph's whole career, he's never been a guy that got a bunch of touchdowns. He's a red zone target for sure, but a lot of times he's used as a decoy. In 2012, Kyle Rudolph got 9 touchdowns. He's had a time where he got 8, and he got 7, and he got 6. But he's not a guy that's ever gotten double-digit touchdowns. He's never been that guy. He's never gotten 10 touchdowns in his career. So I wouldn't bet that Kyle Rudolph would just come here and all of a sudden just get a bunch of touchdowns. I don't think that he'll do that in his, what is it, 10th year or 9th year? What he got in his, this will be his 11th year, I think. Yeah, I don't think he will just all of a sudden get a bunch of touchdowns in his 11th year. Yeah, I'm thinking that Darius Slayton is going to get a bunch of big plays. I don't think he'll get as much catches, but he might have the same amount of yards. As far as total touchdowns, I really doubt that Saquon will have more, the most receiving touchdowns, because that'd be probably bad. You don't want your running back to be your leading receiver in touchdowns when you just signed Kenny Galladay. That'll be bad. Yeah. The thing is, Galladay has had some injuries. That full season he played, he got 11 touchdowns. So I'm thinking he'll have somewhere between like 8 to 13 somewhere, and that's kind of a wide gap. But I think he'll be up there. But I think he'll be battling one other kind of big play receiver for those touchdowns. Maybe it could be Evan Engram. See, I'm setting myself to be let down again because I'm kind of starting to put faith in Evan Engram because now he's like the 4th or 5th option. Let's be real. Last year, with Sterling Shepard out for most of the year, Evan Engram was the first option. So a lot of times he's dropping stuff because he's nervous and he can't, handle that kind of pressure. So now with him being a 3rd or 4th option, hopefully he can catch the ball. Maybe he gets some touchdowns. Oh, definitely. I'm definitely starting the guy that I just took in the first round over a flyer guy that might not make the roster. And I have a video about John Ross going up. Depending on how long this stream goes, it'll go up today. If this stream goes long, it'll go up tomorrow morning or something like that. But John Ross really is going to be fighting to make the roster. He's really going to be fighting to make the roster because what do you want out of your 5th and 6th wide receivers? Tell me some team whose 5th and 6th wide receivers can't play special teams. Now, hopefully John Ross can return some kicks for us, return some punts for us. But if he's not going to play gunner, if he's not going to play special teams for us, you can't be the 5th or 6th guy. So we got to see what he does out there on the field because he's going to be competing with CJ Board and Austin Mack. And he's, if he doesn't make the roster, people are going to be saying, how did this guy who's a bum, who can't catch anything, how did he make the roster over John Ross? Well, that's because he's the better special teamer. And we just had to, we got to take note of it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Shep had 8 touchdowns as a rookie, and ever since then he's been injured. So he has the opportunity to get a bunch of touchdowns, especially in that slot. Odell got a bunch of touchdowns from slot. Oh yeah, I definitely agree. He can do it, but it's just about, are they going to find someone else who they think can do it, who can also do something else? Like, do they think that Jabril Peppers is so much, so close to John Ross as a punt returner that they can say, we can keep another guy who can do something else on special teams and just stick Jabril Peppers back there and just stick Kadarius Tony back there on the kick returns? So we don't know, because Kenny Galladay is 1, Sterling Shepard is 2, Darius Slayton, Kadarius Tony. Those are your top 4 receivers. Unless Darius Slayton falls off of a cliff, John Ross is not working his way into those top 4. You got to think if John Ross makes the team, he'll probably be rotating with Darius Slayton and maybe sometimes come in and out for the other top guys. But those 4 are going to make the roster. And now you have John Ross, you have Dante Pettis, you have Austin Mack, who showed some potential last year as a back of the roster guy. And you have CJ Board, who, I mean, I'm not really interested in seeing him stay. But you got a bunch of wide receivers. Some people like David Sills. You got a bunch of guys back there who have already been playing special teams. I think Dante Pettis has even been playing special teams. So it'll be interesting to see what John Ross does back there. Let's see. If Shep, Galladay, Barkley, and Jones stay healthy, our offense is going to look way different than last. Oh, yeah. But, you know, I'm going to knock on wood. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully that happens. And I think we set ourselves up in a good position to where even if that doesn't happen, we got depth. We have depth. Kadarius Tony's name wasn't mentioned in that sentence. So that shows you we have guys behind what we signed to come in and do things. And we're, you know, and then we're adding in, you know, Kyle Rudolph and Devontae Booker, who's better than Wayne Gallman. I think at the very least he's better than Gallman. So I think we set ourselves up depth-wise to be able to withstand those kind of injuries. What would I rank our defense? I'd probably say the defense is – I'd say the defense should be top – it should be top 8 this year. Should be top 8 this year. I would say the floor is like, you know, 8 to 10, and the ceiling would be, you know, top 2, you know, top 1. Because the only thing that concerns me is the run defense. Dalvin Tomlinson, and even the pass, because Dalvin Tomlinson was a really, really good player in the run and the pass, but more specifically the run. Dalvin Tomlinson, when you see this dude on tape, I mean, he throws people around. He enforces his will. He sets the tone for the line of scrimmage, and we're going to miss him. And I hope that Danny Shelton can do the same thing, but I just hope that he can. I hope that he can, because if he can't, our run defense is going to take a step back, and it'll just be about the depth that we have on the edge. We're going to be depending on a lot of young linebackers to set the edge for us and to make tackles at the second level besides Blake Martinez. That's assuming that Reggie Ragland, you know, that he doesn't start. What's going on, man? Julian Love. Now, Julian Love is a safety. That's what Spin City said. He is a safety, but Julian Love did play corner for the last week of us, week 17, and he looked really good doing it. But the thing is, the problem is a lot of Giants fans say, okay, well, maybe we move him back to corner because he looks so good doing it. The thing is, look, we got James Bradbury, Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes, Aaron Robinson, the guy we just drafted. That's 4 corners right there. And then you have, why am I forgetting the guys behind them? But he's not going to be a top corner for us. He's not going to be a top 4 corner for us. And it's not, he has better chances getting on the field as a safety, because we're going to be playing a lot of 3 safety, and I think they'll continue to rotate him in and out. He did a really good job as a deep safety, as a deep free safety for us last year, of not letting anything go over the top of his head. So I think he'll make the roster. I think he'll probably play a lot of special teams, and he's really versatile. If somebody gets hurt, Julian Love, exactly, way too versatile. Julian Love is gonna be able to step in pretty much everywhere. I wouldn't say massive. I wouldn't say that. Let's wait until we see him this year. I'm not going to call someone like that with that kind of talent, that one rookie of the year. I'm not going to say that he's done and he's a bust, because if the Giants look great this year and he's running the football for us and we go to the playoffs, I mean, we go to the playoffs and, you know, maybe next year we work our way up and we're in championships and Super Bowls, and he's the guy that's really running the football, he can't be a bust. Because, I mean, unless you're saying it's Super Bowl or bust, because I think if we go to the playoffs and Saquon is a serious reason why we made the playoffs, at that point he can't be a bust. So I just don't think so. And I'm pretty sure he's trolling right here. I'm pretty sure he's trolling. But yeah, Saquon, I doubt he's I wouldn't consider him a bust. But if Saquon goes out right now and he gets injured again, yeah, then that's pretty much his whole contract. At that point, he's a bust. At that point, that's it. But if he goes out and he helps us win some games over the next couple of years, I won't have any issues. Who would I have taken? I would have taken the guy that I already wanted to take, which is not any of the quarterbacks. And that's how I'm not going to go back and lie and say, I wanted Lamar Jackson. I wanted Josh Allen. I didn't want either one of those quarterbacks, and I definitely didn't want Sam Darnold. The guy that I wanted was Quentin Nelson because he was the best offensive line that I had. He's the best offensive lineman that I had ever seen scouting in college. I mean, him and, about 2 notches below him was Brandon Scherf. But Quentin Nelson, I said, this dude is going to be the best offensive lineman in the league pretty much a couple of days after he steps into training camp. And that's who I would have taken. I would have definitely taken Quentin Nelson. But I'm not mad with the Saquon pick. If he can stay healthy and help us win some games, he's cool with me. I mean, I'm sure you guys were cheering and getting excited when you saw him make those big plays. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Because, I mean, by that logic, I mean, I would say if someone helps you win games down the stretch at all, because by that logic is Ezekiel Elliott a bust? I mean, I wouldn't say he's a bust. I don't think any of these guys are. Who knows? But I guess if you take someone in the top 3 picks, you do expect to win multiple playoff games with them. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I would have definitely gone Quentin Nelson. That was my guy. One person from the Cowboys and Eagles. It would all be pass rushers. Or let me think some more. Washington, everybody's taking Chase Young. The young second-year pass rusher, I'm taking Chase Young from Washington. From the Eagles, that's crazy. I mean, and it's funny. From the Eagles, who would I take? As far as like somebody I really think that the Eagles have, that the Giants have a hole at, I wouldn't know. I mean, they have some good players, but their good players are people that they're players that we really don't need. Maybe I would go with Brandon Burks would be good, but he's kind of old. Fletcher Cox, I would consider that, but he plays the same position as Leonard Williams, and Leonard Williams, I think, is on a kind of upward trajectory. You would take a guard over Chase Young? I wouldn't do that at all. I was thinking of Miles Sanders, but I just think Miles Sanders is just Saquon, except just smaller. And then you could say, well, Saquon is always hurt, but Miles Sanders is always hurt. So I don't think Miles Sanders is better than Saquon at anything. So I wouldn't do that. But I do like Miles Sanders a lot. He's one of my favorite players to watch. But yeah, Washington, I'm taking Chase Young. Dallas, I would take. I don't want to disrespect DJ and say Dak, but I don't want to disrespect. I mean, I guess the best player they have is Dak. I mean, that's probably who I would look for, at least right now. With the team that we have, if we had a proven guy, I don't know, I probably would take Dak. Other than that, I mean, maybe one of their receivers. And that's probably who I would think of too. For the Eagles, maybe I just take Devontae Smith. Yeah, I probably would look for Devontae Smith from the Eagles, and then Dak from the Cowboys, and then Chase Young from Washington. I'm sure pretty much all the teams in our division will probably go look for they probably will want to take one of our safeties because they're all pretty weak at safety. Besides Washington, they're getting a little bit better. Yeah, if we're factoring in A's, that's why I didn't say guys like like Tyron Smith and Brandon Brooks and all of those guys. I was thinking of age. Tyron Smith is, I mean, you'll be lucky if you can get 4 or 5 games out of him. I don't really want a tight end. I don't value any of these tight ends in the division to where like they'll make that much more of an impact than what we have. I really don't think that having Dallas Goedert will make our team that much better. I don't think he's up in that elite category. I think he's like a notch below it. And I think Evan Engram this year has a chance to be on that notch, you know, now that he doesn't have all that pressure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that high on Devontae Smith as far as him being, you know, a slam dunk Hall of Famer, but I think he'll be a really good player. And, you know, if I took Devontae Smith, what would he be? Our 4th, 5th wide receiver at this point? You know, as a rookie, he'd be our, you know, 4th or, you know, maybe 3rd wide receiver and work his way up to the 2nd. And we would have him and Kadarius Tony. So a wide receiver room will be set for a long time. Yeah, I mean, people are bored. It's the offseason and people are bored. That's pretty much it. Saying that Kadarius Tony is a bust when not only has Kadarius Tony not played a game in the NFL, none of the other players in the entire draft has played a game in the NFL, and nobody has played a game in 2021. So what measurements can you use to say that Kadarius Tony is a bust? I'm telling you, go back and look at the second half of 2019 and tell me how Saquon ran the football. That's the Saquon that I think we're going to see. Second half of 2019, Saquon dropped his head. He went forward a lot more. And the thing is, yeah, sometimes you want him to take those short, easy yards. That keeps us on schedule. It keeps the offense running. But go back to the Jaguars game where he was supposed to get tackled in the backfield. Maybe he could have dragged the guy for 2 yards, but he jukes a guy in the backfield, gets to the outside, and turns it into a touchdown. So you have to, you got to live and die with, you know, with Saquon's abilities. Now, if this offense is looking really good and you got Saquon losing us yards and killing drives, I'm going to be angry, and you probably will see me switch some stuff up. Over or under? I think 7 sacks is probably a realistic thing. Pass rushers, they usually never get a bunch of sacks their rookie year. Lawrence Taylor, the greatest pass rusher of all time, not debatable, got 9.5 sacks. They just, you know, went back and totaled all of those old stats. So he got 9.5 sacks. Chase Young last year, let's see how many he had. I don't think he had double-digit sacks. Chase Young had 7.5 sacks. And people are talking about Chase Young as the next, you know, as the next big thing. So 7 sacks for Azeez Ojulari as a rookie will be really good. I mean, like I'm saying, I mean, if you're picking him to be over 7 sacks, that would be saying that he had a better season than Chase Young. Let's see what Nick Bosa did, where he won Rookie of the Year. That would be saying that he had a better season or around the same season as Nick Bosa. So if he goes over 7 sacks, that means that he had a really, really good season for a rookie pass rusher. So I hope that he does it. But, you know, we'll see. Exactly, yeah. You know, flawless stats, 0 drops. 0 drops, 0 turnovers, 0 fumbles. So, you know, Kadarius Tony, let's wait until he gets on the field. I haven't really been, you know, judging anything he's done because we haven't even really gotten to see him. Even if he goes out in training camp and drops everything, until we see it on the field in an actual game, none of it matters. Corey Washington, if all of this offseason stuff mattered, Corey Washington will be in the Giants Hall of Fame. He'd be in the Giants Ring of Honor, which is funny because he might as well be, because every Giants fan knows him. But let's wait until we actually play some meaningful games. Oh, yeah. yeah, mine are kind of, you know, well, at least Dogecoin is kind of going down. The other stuff, they're doing all right. Oh, I believe that. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see how he does. I think if Daniel Jones is in the top 15 to 17 kind of quarterback, this is a huge disappointment. I really do, because the weapons that we provided him with, we got him a big body guy. We got him a big body guy at tight end. We got him another big body guy at receiver. We got him a slot receiver, a Sterling Shepard. We got him. Kadarius Tony, he's your gadget wide receiver. He can play in the slot. He's going to play outside. He'll get better with that. Darius Slayton is going to stretch the field. John Ross, if he makes the roster, is going to stretch the field. If he doesn't, Dante Pettis is going to be able to stretch the field, and he's got a rapport with Daniel Jones. So he's got receivers that can do everything. Then you're bringing back Saquon, who every time we play against Saquon, again, remember the people who've been kind of, down in Saquon. Remember this. Every time he's been on the field, 8 to 9 people in the box, daring our quarterback to beat him, pressing our receivers at the line of scrimmage, and we haven't been able to do anything. So Saquon is going to, at the very least, maybe they say Daniel Jones isn't good. Maybe they say he's not the guy. So they still sit there and say, we're going to load the box. No matter what your receivers are, we don't think you're good. Well, guess what? It's still going to make things easy, because the receivers are going to be so good that it'll kind of lift Daniel Jones up. And the other way around, once Daniel Jones starts to make those plays, it's going to open up things for Saquon, and Daniel Jones can dump the ball off to him. So there are so many ways that Daniel Jones can operate in this offense that there's almost no excuse. There's almost no excuse for him to not be at least a top 15 to 17 quarterback. If he's the 12th best quarterback, I'm happy. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks. Let's look at the list. I mean, this is just be really quick. I mean, if you take out Deshaun Watson, because we don't know when he'll play again, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Herbert, throw Dak in there. This isn't any kind of order. Throw Dak in there. You got Josh Allen, who I forgot about him, Lamar Jackson, Matt Stafford. That's 9 guys right there. I mean, if he's at number 12, that means that he's got over 4,400 yards and over 30 touchdowns. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, everybody's expecting a big year from Xavier McKinney. Herbert is a fluke? I don't think so, man. I think Herbert is going to be really good. I mean, I was one of the guys who wanted Herbert before, he decided that he wanted to go back to Oregon and play for an extra year. I think I answered this question, but like I said, anywhere from 1 or 2 to around 8. I think the only thing that's going to hold our defense back is stopping the run, because Dalvin Tomlinson is gone, and we just don't know that effect. Yeah, I will say that. Did anybody in the chat say they said over? Okay, I'll do this. Over under 3250 and over under 24.5. Over under 13 interceptions. So let's take the yards first. I would hope he throws for more than 3,200 yards in 17 games. So I'll say over. Even if he's, a low yardage guy, he'll at least be at like 3,600, 3,700. Hopefully, 3,800. So I think this will be his first year breaking 4,000 yards. So I think he'll shatter that. 24.5 touchdowns. I'm predicting he'll have anywhere from, and this is me being realistic, not having any optimism in it. I'm thinking he'll throw at least 25 to 30 touchdowns, 25 to 29. So I'll say over on that, and then over or under 13 interceptions. His rookie year, I think he threw like 12 interceptions. Last year he threw 11. I'm going to say he'll take more risk because he has Kenny Golladay. So I say he'll throw 14 or 15 interceptions. Hopefully he'll still throw less, but I'll go, a little bit over 13. So those are my reactions for that. And Greeny had under 3,250, under 24 touchdowns, and over. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. We just want to get back on the field. I really hope that he can make the Pro Bowl, because I just want Daniel Jones to get to a point after this season where he just has some signature wins. He does his thing a couple of times, and people are just saying, hey, this dude has arrived. This dude is a serious quarterback. He's the franchise quarterback for the Giants, because all of the hate that this dude has gotten has been ridiculous. And you see him working every single day. Again, how many times have you seen a quarterback with this kind of arm, with this kind of athleticism, put in this kind of work, and him not either at least becoming a league average quarterback? I have never. I just don't see that, because I really think that he'll be okay. I'll take the what's going on, man. Yeah, it's been a minute. I haven't streamed since June 6th. It's been a while. But thoughts on Evan Engram? Cautiously optimistic. I really think that this could be the year where he finally looks like the tight end that he's supposed to be. I mean, Evan Engram was always the luxury pick for us, and we needed offensive line help, but we took Evan Engram. We could have taken Ryan Ramczyk, but we could have taken that guy. We could have taken a lot of people, but we fell in love with the luxury pick, and we took a tight end. And, of course, in Madden, I went and got him, and I dumped off an out route to him, and he caught the ball, ran like 90 yards, scored a touchdown. So I'm like, okay, at least he'll make some big plays for us. But way too many drops, way too many turnovers that were on his watch. If he can clean that stuff up and get the same amount of targets that he usually gets, he's a top 5 tight end. There's no debating it. He's a top 5 tight end if he can just clean up the stupid mistake. So hopefully he can do it. I think he can do it. I think he'll at least be good this year. I'm not worried about it. I mean, at the end of the day, we got an extra first-round pick. So even if the Bears pick is in the 20s because they made the playoffs and Justin Fields is some amazing quarterback, we got a first-round pick that we didn't have. Now, if it is top 10, then we just got icing on the cake. But, I mean, I'm sure, most people would take an extra first-round pick. And no matter where it is in the first round and where their picks are in the third round and all of our other picks, if we need to move up for any reason, we can package all those picks. We can either package those picks and go up and get a quarterback if DJ, doesn't follow through, or we can package those picks and go up and get that pass rusher from Oregon. So I think we're in good shape. Oh, yeah. Now this is funny. Space Jam, first of all, the original Space Jam I've seen probably about 250 times. I used to get home from school as a kid, or from at that point, I mean, I guess I was in kindergarten, summer camp, all of that stuff. I used to get home almost every day and watch Space Jam, so I'm definitely a Space Jam fan. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but do I think that it's as good as the original Space Jam? I don't know, because it's just so different. And part of why I like Space Jam, the original one, so much is just because of the nostalgia. So that's not there. But one thing I will say that I did not like about Space Jam 2 was that there were just way too much forced advertisement from the Warner Brothers. Just forced and unnecessary advertisement that wasn't necessary for them to tell the story. It just wasn't necessary at all. And it's like, they're like, oh, yeah, go watch all of our other stuff. You could have just told the story. You're already featuring the Looney Tunes. Okay, you're featuring the Justice League and all of this stuff. But at some point, you got to cut it off, because it was kind of getting played out. Yeah, the offense could take a major leap. Defense continues to do what they've already done. Exactly. We just need the defense. If the defense is 75% of what they were last year and the offense can put up 26 a game, that's a playoff team. That's an objective playoff team, because you're putting up 26 and you're giving up 20. You're putting up 26, 27, and you're giving up 20. So I think that's a good thing. You said Brett Coleman got me scared. What about Brett Coleman? Movies all trash nowadays. I've seen some good movies recently. I've seen some good movies, but Space Jam 2, I mean, it's not a bad movie at all. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but it's just a lot of forced things in there that were just unnecessary. But, you know, as far as nostalgia wise, I'm not going to compare the two because I just have so much nostalgia for the first Space Jam that I couldn't, you know, I wouldn't be able to objectively compare them. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess I've kind of already done a film breakdown of all of our picks, but I mean, I guess I could do a reaction kind of video, maybe. Maybe I'll do a reaction video to like the preseason stuff. Preseason performances. If they make some big plays. Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly worried about Andrew Thomas. All of the broken up plays, most of the broken up plays were because of Andrew Thomas that were like really bad where you like, this is completely the offensive line's fault. It was Andrew Thomas and then sometimes it was Cam Fleming. We just need our tackles. We just need our tackles to step up and everything else will fall into place. Brett Coleman did a video about the Bears quarterback, which is why someone thinks our pick won't be good. I'm not worried about Justin Fields or Andy Dalton. I mean, unless the Bears win the Super Bowl, we're going to have a good pick. If it's in the teens, we'll be okay. If it's in the 20s, we'll be okay. We can all use that as picks to move up with. My dissertation. I'm in a graduate program, but I'm not in a doctorate program. I don't know if you were serious, but I'm not writing a dissertation. I was mad about that. Listen, I don't know if you guys were saying the stuff in the comments, but I was mad that we didn't take an offensive guard in that 4th round, and we ended up taking Aaron Robinson, which I think is a good player, but I wanted the guard, and I made a video ranting about it because I was upset about it. And I mean, I have never gotten so much hate from my own people, from other Giants fans. I had never gotten that much hate from Giants fans ever. So, I mean, apparently I can't speak up on the offensive line. And I'm going to have those same people that gave me that much hate talking on my videos, telling me about the offensive line when I was saying the draft one. But I wanted to take Ben Cleveland. I'm getting a master's. I'm getting a master's degree. But yeah, I mean, I wanted an offensive lineman in that 4th round. I wanted Ben Cleveland. We didn't get him. I went on a rant, and you know they told me to shut up basically. So apparently we're all good on the offensive line, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'm just hoping that Shane Lemieux can at least continue to be really good in the run game and just work his way up to being solid in the pass game. Even if Shane Lemieux was horrible in the pass game, if everybody else is solid, we'll be okay. Like we'll be okay. They're gonna just have to be able to give him some help. It's easy to help a guard. It's easier to help one of those guys than to help somebody on the edge. I wish I had one. I guess I've definitely put in more time on the Giants than, you know, lifetime than I have for any other subject. So, well, not any other subject, but any school subject, definitely. Yeah, I do think he's probably the better player, but again, I thought that the need for the guard was bigger. But what do I know? We'll see how it plays out because, you know, Shane Lemieux could get out there and be decent. So, and I don't think they're going to sign a veteran guard. I just think at the end of the day, it just showed that Gettleman and Joe Judge and everybody there, they believe in the offensive linemen that we have. So if they have that much faith in those offensive linemen, who am I to sit there and tell Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman that these guys can't play when they're telling me that they can play? So I'm putting faith in all of those guys. Yeah, I was saying that we didn't need a corner, but now that I think about it, we did not have much depth at that slot corner. So, I mean, we could have used them. I mean, I'm not mad that Aaron Robinson is on this team, but I probably still would have wanted a guard. But in a year, I think we'll be happy that Aaron Robinson is on the team. In a year, I think, because we don't know what's going to happen with Bradbury's contract, because next year is going to be his last year and they haven't extended him yet. So we'll see about that. Adoree Jackson, we don't know if he'll stay healthy this year. We'll see how it goes. No, I was not surprised that he went that high. My number one guy is Thibodeau. My number one guy is Thibodeau. Of course, as an LSU guy, I'm definitely looking out for both of the corners too. So, but I mean, like I said, we just took a corner in the fourth round or third round. I think we took Aaron Robinson in the third round. I think we took him in the third. We did take him in the third round. But no, they didn't. That's the thing. They didn't have that signature song for Space Jam. They didn't have that signature song. So that was the issue. They didn't have the signature thing. They were more focused on promoting the rest of Warner Brothers. The story wasn't bad, but once you interrupt the story over and over again to promote random Warner Brothers shows and movies, it kind of gets played out. Yeah, they can get by. If Daniel Jones steps up and these receivers are good and Andrew Thomas can be an above average left tackle, we'll be able to put up points. It won't be pretty, like you said, but we'll be able to put up points. You don't trust Adoree Jackson. I hope Adoree Jackson can stay healthy. Now, as far as what he does on the field, he's probably going to give a bunch of short passes. He does that. He's got to work on tackling when he gives up those short passes, but he does not give up those deep passes at all. And I think Patrick Graham is going to use that to his strength of figuring out how to make sure that you can use that ability to his long speed to not give up those deep passes and have it to where maybe he has help on those tackles underneath. If Daniel Jones is some average guy or some bridge guy, I would definitely like for him to be just good enough for long enough for us to get Arch Manning. Definitely. Yeah, that's it. And in that order, quarterback, offensive line, pass rush. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to manufacture sacks this year, but in the end of the game situations where we need the pass rush, that's when it always disappeared. Only time it appeared was when Leonard Williams took over and against the Cowboys and when he took over against the Seahawks. But other than that, when we needed the pass rush to step up, they disappeared. So can we get a 4-down pass rush going at the end of these games? That's the thing. We'll probably have the sack numbers, but can we get the consistent pressure when we need it? I don't think Adoree Jackson will return a single punt or kick. I think it'll all be Kadarius Tony, John Ross, Jabril Peppers, one of those guys. I don't think he'll return those. I hope he's not hurt. We haven't done anything yet. Carson Wentz on the Colts. I like that move a lot. I was in a fantasy draft the other day, and Carson Wentz didn't get drafted until some of the backups were getting drafted. Carson Wentz on the Colts, I think, is the perfect situation. He has his old quarterback coach or coordinator, one of the two, but he has somebody he's worked with before. He's in a good spot. They're building around him there. He's going to have a nice offensive line. I think Carson Wentz is going to have a resurgence. People that actually believe in him. I mean, he got demoralized in Philadelphia. Yeah, he got beat by Fuller, but that rarely happens for him. Again, I mean, I've seen him give up like a 40-yard pass plus maybe one or two times in his entire career. He just doesn't get beat on those usually. So unless you're literally like Will Fuller, where you're like the fastest in the league or one of the fastest, he's probably not going to get dusted. Hakeem Nicks is definitely one of my all-time favorite players. I don't know if he would have been all-time great, but he would have been up there. He would have had some nice stats. He would have been up there. I hope not. I hope not, man. I don't want to see him wearing. No, I don't want to see that. Yeah, I can't wait, man. I mean, July 24th is the date, and we're gonna be right back in gear. Preseason. When's the first preseason game? I think it's less than 2 weeks away. Let's see. Giants preseason. I guess while I'm sitting here typing this, people are going to type it in the chat. The first preseason game, because they deleted a week, is August 14th. So that's a while away. That's a while away, but should be fine still. Pretty sure preseason games used to start in like the end of July, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Yeah, I wanted Plaxico to come back to the Giants when he ended up coming out of jail, but didn't happen that way. Hopefully, I mean, everything, like, if you ask me like what this team looks like from the top to the bottom, if Daniel Jones can just be competent and the offensive line can just not be horrible, this team looks really good. Like I try not to be biased when I do these like preseason predictions, but this team looks really good. They really look like they could be a serious threat in the playoffs. But shout out to Kushendra Ramrup. Sorry for mispronouncing your name if I did. But for the $5 super chat, my bad. I couldn't pull up, bro. I was fixing. Oh, this is the hub. Hey, what's up, man? But that's no problem, man. That's no problem. Never seen that account. But it's no problem. We'll get on here eventually. Training camp is starting up. Is Shep is going to be the wide receiver too. Shep is going to be the second receiver. Slayton will probably be the third receiver. I don't think that Tony is going to have some huge role where he'll be in a position to get 1,000 yards. Unless you see multiple injuries, Kadarius Tony is going to be brought along. He's going to be the gadget guy. He's going to be like a Deebo Samuel guy that's just going to sit here for a season and, be that gadget guy. And the next season, you're going to see him be like a wide receiver too. That's just what happens. I mean, you take him at, what did we draft him at, 19 or 21 or something like that? That's what we're getting out of him. Not since middle school, so not on any kind of a high level at all. Not at all. Per chef opinion, if no jail time. Let's see what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about Watson. Yeah, I don't. Oh, you said per. Okay, yeah. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to. I don't think he's going to the Eagles. Hopefully not. They need to stick with the guy that they have. Google stores goated. Well, you got a Pixel? I've never even been to a. Have I been to a Google store? I don't think so. Hey, that's lit. Yeah, I mean, I think the last time my phone broke, it was under warranty, so I was cool. I've been working with the same phone since 2019, S10, and I haven't had any issues since that first week where the fingerprint scanner stopped working. But after that, I've been all good. And yeah, I buy my phones outright, so I haven't had any issue. So I haven't, hopefully I don't have any issues because, I have to buy another one outright. Yeah, I did not know that the Google stores existed either, but maybe in New York they do. I would probably think they would. Exactly. Maybe I need to delete this whole video to make sure I don't jinx it. Yeah. Yeah, I've never been to a Google store. I've been to an Apple store and a Microsoft store. I wouldn't do that for my phone. It's not worth it. Not worth it. You say you think KT will have around 500 to 700 yards, depending on how Shep and Slayton. Yeah, I think if Darius Slayton goes out there and he's stinking up the place, or if Shep goes out there and gets injured, which hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he'll be good. But if one of them go out there and for some reason they shouldn't be out there on the field or they can't be out there on the field, then you look for Kadarius Tony to get some nice yards. That's a goated comment. I don't think they'll promote Eli to general manager. I don't think he wants to be a general manager. But yeah, everybody's gone. Joe Judge might get to stay, but depending on how the team looks and how they fight, I don't think that. I think Joe Judge will have a shot, but I think everybody else will be pretty much gone. Depending on how they look. Now, if the Giants go, 10-6, because we're 10-7, or 11-6 or something like that, and for some weird reason they missed the playoffs, nobody's getting fired for that. But if they just completely disappoint, then yeah, people are going. Yeah, he scares me too, but I don't think. Just think about it. A bad left guard on a team that you think is a playoff team, I don't think he can ruin your season. I just don't think so. And the thing is, he's going to help you in the run game. My favorite player all time and favorite player current. So you're asking me Giants or favorite player? I'll give my favorite player altogether. It's probably a tie with Hakeem Nicks and Ahmad Bradshaw for two of my favorite players of all time. Favorite player current? I don't know. I like a lot of players these days. I like to watch a lot of players. I like watching Josh Allen a lot, but I don't know if he would be my favorite player in the league. Joe Burrow is, of course, one of my favorite players in the league. If Jamar Chase gets out here, he'll be one of my favorite players in the league. But I guess DJ will be my favorite player in this league because I just want to see him prove everybody wrong. I mean, I haven't seen somebody get disrespected like this. Yeah, we just got to put faith in him. I mean, we talk about how much we respect Joe Judge and how much we think Joe Judge has the perfect vision, but we doubt the offensive line. So I'm going to just say that Joe Judge knows what he's doing, and he's watched enough of these guys in practice and on the field to say he's confident in what we have. I mean, for us to have those chances and have those extra picks, to be able to go and grab an offensive lineman in a very deep interior offensive line draft, it shows that they really believe in the offensive line. For us to not grab Trey Turner, for us to not grab Morgan Moses, it shows that they really, really believe in the offensive line. So I'm going to trust Joe Judge and just say that we're in a good spot because it seems like, he thinks that we are, and he's the one that's cooking the food. Favorite player of all time, Eli and Strahan. Favorite players, current, Saquon and McKinney. Yeah, that's solid, man. Yeah, I don't know. Strahan never was ever like my favorite player to watch. He was definitely, a good player, definitely a Hall of Fame player. But I don't know. He never really resonated with me and made me just like, I don't know. But Eli definitely probably one of my all-time favorites. Definitely. Eli and Bradbury. Yeah, I like Bradbury a lot. Yeah, Hakeem Nicks, man, it's just so sad that his career ended up like how his career ended up because he had about 4 or 5 more years of being a really good player, but his ankles went out and then his knees went out, and then he came back like 3-4 more years after that and was like trying to make a comeback. He was playing in the XFL at tight end because he was like 240 pounds. So it's just sad the way everything ended for him. Same thing with Bradshaw. His feet gave out. He got injured too many times. That's pretty cool, man. I haven't seen any Giants players just out walking around. Now, of course, I didn't. I'm not from New York, so I've seen Washington football players driving around and walking around, but I haven't seen. I haven't seen any Giants players ever just walking around. I'm pretty sure that was fake. Yeah, that video was fake. The straight hand video. He didn't go to the dentist or anything. That's classic right there. Wow. Yeah, that used to be the worst thing, man. That used to happen to me. Coming home from school and like middle school and high school, and everybody would have to get off the bus or get off the train because someone fights, and then the police come and they start asking people questions and stuff. That used to be the worst thing ever. That used to be the worst thing ever, man. Yeah, I do follow basketball. I mean, if you ask me from like an X's and O's point, basketball is something that I understand more than football because I actually played it, at a higher level than I did football. But as far as the NBA, I can't follow all of the games, but I'm a Lakers fan, true and tried, tried and true. But I can't watch every single one of those 82 games. It's exhausting. I'm probably more excited about the Olympics than I am these finals, though. I'm kind of disappointed Chris Paul isn't going to get this ring. It seems like they're going to fold. It just went from pretty much rooting for the Lakers to just rooting against the Clippers, and now I don't have any team to really get emotionally involved in. Only thing is I wanted CP3 to get his ring, but it seems like he's just not going to get it. Every team is purple and gold. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was a Kobe fan as like a 3-year-old, so that was my team at that point. I was probably decided I was a Lakers fan before I decided anything else as far as sports. LSU, I just like watching Patrick Peterson and some of the players. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a day in and day out, grind it out like training camp for LSU will probably be starting up, and they'll do their scrimmages and stuff. But I'm gonna be more focused on the Giants. But I do like LSU. I like watching their games. But again, that's a Saturday thing, so you can't really catch every game. Because just think about it. I mean, I'm a football fan, NFL and college. I like basketball, boxing, baseball. If I watched all of these games and all of these matches and all of these fights and stuff, I wouldn't have any life. And then make content about it, I wouldn't have any life at all. So, yeah. I just, that's why I just mostly try to just focus on the Giants. But let's see. Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean the rivalry with the Celtics used to be heavier, but things have kind of calmed down. I don't even know the story with Kwame and Hassan. I don't know the story, man. I don't know. I don't know the story at all. I just saw them arguing, and I was just like, "This is two men yelling at each other on the screens." Is just always weird to me. Yeah, yeah. If I was just gonna pick a team from their uniforms, I would go Oregon. But Kwame Brown is definitely entertaining. But I'm definitely excited to see Derek Stingley and Todd Gurley to the Ravens. I just saw that. Okay, that's pretty cool. But I'm definitely excited to see Derek Stingley and Eli Ricks this year play corner. Devontae Smith is out of the SEC, so Derek Stingley will actually be able to cover everybody. Yeah, the rivalry has been dead for a while. It's just we just haven't played each other in the finals for a while, so. But yeah, Derek Stingley and Eli Ricks is going to be a movie. LSU has a lineman you're looking at. Yeah, I mean LSU, for all of the good things they have, I mean, I would say usually the offensive line isn't that good. Even when Joe Burrow was having that crazy season, I mean, usually the offensive line isn't that good. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Y'all can have Schroeder, man. Schroeder wants almost like a max deal, so you can have Schroeder. You can have him. I mean, I like some of the things he did, but he disappeared when we needed him sometimes. And I mean, he's not worth the money that he wants. Yeah, you want that's 100%. You want offensive line. Notre Dame is the place to go. That is not a debate. Notre Dame, sometimes Iowa, but Notre Dame is definitely the place to go for offensive line. Yeah, I didn't really care. I mean, I don't have Justin Fields so far ahead of everybody else that it made a difference. I just don't think like Malik Willis and why am I forgetting his name? Quarterback out of Oklahoma. All of these guys, I just don't see as I don't see that big of a gap between them. Yeah. You said Cardell Thomas. Yeah, I don't know if he'll play that much this year. Rattler. Yeah. I like a lot of these quarterbacks that are coming out this upcoming year. So I'm not really worried about Justin Fields. Yes, I do play fantasy, and now that that's coming up, thank you for reminding me. I will be doing a league with some subscribers. I definitely will be doing that. I'm already in one that somebody invited me to, but I'm definitely going to be doing a couple of leagues probably, so I can have a good amount of people in there with me. But I'm definitely going to be doing a fantasy league with subscribers. That should be fun. Yeah, Cardell Thomas though, he just hasn't been starting though. Like he's been in and out of the lineup and just not really setting the tone for a while. Yeah, Justin Fields lit. He lit that defense on fire. He's got to rise above that with the weapons that we have. Now, with those weapons last year, you got a bad offensive line, you got excuses, but you got to just rise above it, man, because guys are going to be actually open this year. So we'll see. I don't think the offensive line is going to be like worse than the league. I don't think so. So I think it'll be functional enough for him to be able to make reads. Yeah, Wisconsin, you want tight ends, you go to Iowa. DBs and wide receivers. You at this point, I mean, they tried to say that DBU was at Texas, but DBs and wide receivers are coming out of LSU and Alabama like crazy. I mean, they're all coming from Florida, from Alabama, from Georgia. From these guys are. I mean, it's not fair, man. They're coming from Louisiana. It's just not fair. Kadarius Tony was, I think, I can't remember. Was Kadarius Tony in Alabama? No. He's from Alabama, but he did just go ahead and go to Florida. But it's a ton of talent there. It wasn't Kadarius Tony, it was Aaron Robinson that started off at Alabama and transferred. But so much talent there. Smith or Tony, if I had to pick between the two, I'm gonna be real. I would go Devontae Smith. I think he's the better receiver, but Kadarius Tony has he has a higher potential because he's bigger. He's definitely more athletic. We'll see. He's not as refined, but he's got a lot of room to grow. Yeah. I know he went to Florida. I was just trying to remember if Kadarius Tony had started off at Alabama, but no, he didn't. That was Aaron Robinson that started off at Alabama and then transferred over to school in Florida. Yeah, I think he'll stay healthy. What's going on, Joseph? But you really wanted Elijah Moore. Yeah, I was up and down on him at first. I didn't really like Elijah Moore, but I think he's a good player. I think he's a great complementary player. We'll see him this year. I think he went to I think Elijah Moore went to the Jets. I think so. Let's see. I know the Jets. If he is there, I'm pretty sure the Jets have a nice receiving core for he went to the Jets. He has a nice receiving core for Zach Wilson. Yeah, that's the thing. Like Devontae Smith, I think is better than Kadarius Tony. But even if Kadarius Tony never becomes a better YouTuber, I'm YouTube. This comment just threw me off. Even if Kadarius Tony never becomes a better receiver, like actual receiver than Devontae Smith, he'll be on a team that is able to use him better than the Eagles because the Eagles absolutely destroy their receivers. They destroy a lot of things that come to their team. The only thing they're great at really, developing is defensive ends, offensive linemen 100%, and sometimes their quarterbacks. But they destroy a lot of receivers. Yeah, we could have definitely gotten him. I'm taking Jalen Waddle 100% every day of the week over Devontae Smith. But to answer this question, I started YouTube. I told this story a couple of times, but I started YouTube because I was just it was 2009, so I had to be 12 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, and I saw people making videos about the Giants and about football, and I was excited about it. I was interested in it, and I saw KT is a top 3 YouTuber. But yeah, I was excited, and I commented on some videos, and they told me you came up too. So this was the TTC back then, trash talking circle. Giants fans talking trash to Cowboys fans, and Washington fans and Eagles fans. And yeah, we got on there. We talked our trash about the opposing team, no matter if we thought we would win or not. It was just fun to go back and forth. And yeah, since 2009, I made Giants content pretty much on a weekly basis. And, I took my breaks here and there. And then eventually in about 2017, I said, I really want to only focus on, making Giants videos and not just like blindly propping up a team that I knew was going to lose, but, actually give my opinion on my analysis on it. So I made a couple of film breakdowns. I started making highlight videos. That was pretty fun. I like editing videos. And then pretty much did that at my own pace, made reaction videos to the drafts. And then 2021, not 2021, 2020, I had all this extra time, the pandemic. Or maybe this was a little bit before the pandemic. All I know is had some extra time. And I said, how about I really go after, all of this YouTube stuff, and I just make videos consistently and I actually put effort into it. Because, all that other time, I just would upload a video and title it whatever and just talk whatever I was going to talk and then get off. But I said, I'll actually put effort into it. And fast forward, 15, 16 months, I got a decent little, channel going on here. I went from like 600 in 2020 of March to 5,400 now. But yeah, KT is definitely a top YouTuber. Oh, that's no problem, Nate. I just been in here just chilling, talking with the chat. No parts of Ohio State quarterback. Yeah, that's definitely an argument, but I think Justin Fields has the potential to be pretty good. I think he's going to actually work. Dwayne Haskins, first of all, Dwayne Haskins wasn't accurate. Second of all, he didn't want to work. So, I mean, what were you going to get out of that? Justin Fields is accurate and he wants to work, and he has a better attitude. I mean, he's a better quarterback in my opinion too, and he's also more athletic. I got you, Nate. About to send it over right now. Yeah, I just sent you the link, Nate. But yeah, I kind of sidetracked away from training camp, but Evan is a liability. He is a huge liability. I just hope that he can just stop being a liability and just do his job. If every time they throw him the ball, he catches it, that's a top 5 tight end. Yeah, I faintly remember that. I remember Kurt Warner. Yeah. I remember them getting destroyed in the Super Bowl. I was a real young kid when that happened. And yeah, wasn't cool. Yeah, Haskins was a train wreck. I mean, Dwayne Haskins, again, you have a guy who's talented. He was really talented. He threw 50-some touchdowns in college in one season. So he was definitely talented, but he wasn't accurate, which is, I think, is probably the most important thing for a quarterback is being accurate. And then on top of that, on top of him not being accurate, he doesn't have any kind of a work ethic, and he's entitled. Yeah, at this point, that's our only 3 quarterbacks: Phil Simms, Eli Manning, Daniel Jones. I just don't see Daniel Jones failing in this spot. I just can't see it, man. Like somebody that puts in this kind of work with his kind of legs, his kind of arm, his accuracy, his natural accuracy that he has. I just don't see Daniel Jones failing. I just can't fathom it. If this dude fails, I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, at least I gave it all I had, because he really has. I mean, he really is giving it all he has. Dan Reeves. Yeah, I don't remember that. I definitely don't remember that. I just wish I would have gotten to see Lawrence Taylor play. That's what I really wish. I just wish I would have gotten to see Lawrence Taylor play. I wish I would have gotten to see Reggie White play. Yeah, I wish I would have gotten to see a ton of these older players play, but I remember Michael Jordan on the Wizards, but a lot of these older players I definitely don't remember. Luckily, and the thing is, we'll be able to really look back, and people hate on this guy, but we'll really be able to look back and say, we saw Tom Brady play football. We saw Peyton Manning play football. There's probably some people in this chat that don't really remember Peyton Manning playing football, or that, don't really remember Ray Lewis in his prime, or, Tiki Barber playing, or Jason Sehorn. So, there's a lot of people that aren't going to remember some of these older players. Like, imagine not being able to remember Ed Reed in his prime. And that, what a great segue to not remembering older players.
Man, we were just talking about this on another stream the other day. I was on Young Guns with Hub and KB and then Pest, and we were all talking about who's the oldest. I'm like, man, you're all old to me. All y'all are old to me.
But yeah, we just been talking pretty open about Giants. Training camp obviously hasn't happened, so
yeah.
I started off just saying, like, who are you looking forward to the most for training camp? I think I started off by saying I'm looking forward to see the connection between DJ Galladay and Kadarius Tony, and then the slot corner battle.
Yeah. The slot corner battle is going to be fun to watch. Those are 2 really talented guys. For me, it's so many. I'm excited to see how some of those young, talented players in the offensive line have come along. I'm excited to see that for sure. I can't wait to see how this secondary plays together in general. There's just so much talent on this defense now. Definitely, One guy I'm definitely extremely excited to see is Ellerson Smith, and I am almost very nearly more excited about him than I am about Azeez Ojulari, just
I
because
am.
Ellerson Smith is so high potential. He is just ceiling us sky high. If we can get a little bit of edge rusher pixie dust sprinkled on him by Coach Chaos, we could have a real threat on our hands.
And
But
then
yeah,
the thing is about that is like, I don't know how many of you listen to Big Blue Kickoff Live with Paul Dottino and all those people, but Paul Dottino has been saying like Ellerson Smith, he's got all this talent and all this stuff, but he might not get jerseys because there's so many edge rushers that are against him, and a lot of people think it'll be a red shirt year. But I've been trying to tell people, like, I actually talked to him on Twitter. I've been trying to tell people that the snaps that he won't get and the jerseys that you think he won't get because he's so raw, he'll get on special teams on the field goal block team.
yeah,
Because he's 6'7" and he has a history of blocking field goals.
absolutely.
So I think that's kind of his pathway of playing special teams on the field goal block unit and maybe running the field and everything too. And then someone goes down and then he ends up on the edge because of injury, and he actually got a jersey. So I think that's his way, but it's not like I'm expecting him to get like 6 or 7 sacks this year because I don't think he'll get that much opportunity, but I think he will, get some opportunities and some spots to show flashes.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not impossible for him to just step right in, become like one of the most coachable kids you've ever seen, and get right into the starting line. It's not impossible, but
it's
a lot of people
unlikely.
don't understand just how young and raw he is. What did he play one season out of
And
high
he
school?
didn't play football last year.
Right. There's Ellerson Smith is definitely a future pick, but I'm extremely excited to see how bright that future is this year in the limited reps he does get. I think when you look at our edge rushing room, he might be closer to the top than a lot of those people think, just because we're not sure what Lorenzo Carter's going to be yet coming back from that injury. We're not sure about O'Shane Zimenez yet. And aside from them, it's Azeez Ojulari, and there's not much on the edge that I would rather have than
I
Ellerson
think
Smith. Carter Coughlin
I think
obviously
that
deserves that spot, but he might get moved to the inside.
I think Carter Coughlin will get some reps there, and I also think that the pass rusher that we took that we signed from Washington, from Washington, will get snaps over above him because they'll probably trust him in the run game more. I think his name is like Ryan Davis or something.
I can't remember. I thought he was more of a veteran depth signing.
He has one of those like really forgettable names.
Yeah.
Let's see, Giants roster.
Jay Sports Card says, I heard Ellerson is raw, but I say in a couple of years could be JPP or Tuck-like. Very possible. He's got that kind of athletic ceiling.
Yeah. He has the explosiveness that...
Jay Sports Cards, no, we're not talking about Odenigbo, Ifedi.
We're not. And a lot of people don't know, like, I was assuming that they would, like, use him as, like, an interior rusher on third downs, but I'm thinking probably on early downs he may line up at outside linebacker on the edge.
Yeah. Ifedi, I think, is going to be more of a defensive end than anything.
Yeah, that's what I think, but...
It's hard to say specifically because obviously Pat Graham could do any number of things with this front seven.
Because he's not good against the run at all. So I think they will want him on the outside on early downs because they will probably be able to run right at him on those early downs.
Says Ryan Anderson. That's what it was.
There we go. I said Ryan Davis. Always get him confused with like the small forward from the Orlando Magic or something like that.
Man, I have such limited knowledge of basketball. I have no idea.
You're lucky because there's a lot of people in basketball that have like really forgettable names, and then they just cloud your memory.
Allison says, can you talk about the wide receiver room with the amount of receivers to make the team? It could be a good number.
That's a good question. Do you think it's 6 or do you think it's 7?
I'm thinking 7 or 8. There's a lot.
You think we'll keep 7 or 8 receivers on the 53-man roster?
Plenty.
Wow. If we do that, then John Ross is 100% making the roster.
I think John Ross is going to make it just because he sort of provides that one skill set you expect out of a Patriots-type team. I am obviously stretching a little bit with the idea of how Joe Judge is going to run his roster in regards to how Belichick ran his. But when you looked at that Belichick roster, there's always one guy with the speed in the tool bag, and that's what John Ross is. He really only has one golf club in the bag, but if he can run faster than anybody on the team, I
Yeah.
think he's going to make it.
All right, so let's look at the roster that we have. First off, shout out to Derek Dillon from LSU, another speedy wide receiver that has no shot of making the roster because, I mean, what's the point? we probably keep John Ross over him.
Yeah.
But C.J. Board, Kenny Galladay, Austin Mack, Dante Pettis, John Ross, Sterling Shepard, David Sills, Darius Slayton, and Kadarius Tony. So the guys that are 100% locks, I mean, not 100%, but unless there's a trade, Sterling Shepard, KT, Shepard, Kenny Galladay, and Darius Slayton, those guys are locks. Those top 4 are locks. And then, of course, again, you got your Pettis, just like Justin down here in the comments is saying, Ross, CJ Board, and Austin Mack. So those are 4 guys. And then maybe because a lot of people love David Sills, even though we've never seen him play or even make a play in the preseason.
We can talk about David Sills for a little bit. So a lot of people love David Sills, and I get why. There's a little bit of a story to him.
Exactly.
He was that football type story of he was a quarterback, had to switch positions. He's fighting his way through injuries, etc. He's a UDFA, all this underdog type stuff. Let's just be real here. I do not think David Sills has anywhere near the hip fluidity or the route running or the quickness to stick in the NFL as a receiver. I just don't. And if a lot of guys say, oh, he's going to be a possession receiver, he's a big body guy, he just doesn't have that physicality to him. He's a quarterback switch.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. I am not a David Sills believer. I would love to be proven wrong, as always. But I am just not the believer in him that most people are.
In college, like, first off, when I say this, just know I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to college athletes, because if you're playing in college, you're basically in a semi-pro league.
Oh, yeah.
So, but in college, you can kind of use your natural gifts to your advantage.
Yeah.
Him having the quarterback background and then being 6'4" and being able to jump a little bit, that helped him a lot at West Virginia.
Right.
That's not going to help us much.
Yeah.
In the NFL.
He also wasn't exactly going against SEC caliber DBs. So it's fair to say that when he went up to get the jump ball, a lot of the times it was because the DB wasn't jumping at all.
Exactly.
So if
they couldn't even find the ball.
I just don't think it's meant to be. Again, it's very possible, but I don't see it. So let's
It'd
talk
be
about
a
the
great
rest of these
story.
guys. I'm going to make the case for 8. And the 8 I'm going to say are obviously the 4 locks, Galladay, Shepard, Slayton, Tony. And then I'm going to say John Ross for 1, just because of the speed. I'm going to say Dante Pettis because he showed some playmaking ability last year. I'm going to say Austin Mack, and I say that because he was a guy that they trusted when they absolutely had to, and he stepped up in a couple of moments. And I like the fact that he was on special teams for a good bit of reps last year. He was doing stuff with the team, and obviously it was with a lot of thinness and not a whole lot of depth in the receiver room, but I do think they're going to keep him on with his game time experience. And then lastly, I'm going to say it's tough to say that Alex Bachman makes this team, so I don't think I will. I'm going to keep it to CJ Board instead of Bachman, and I feel bad doing that because I believe it was Bachman who went on the podcast with the Giants guys, and he was super cool with them, might have been talking Giants, and everyone in the Giants community loves him. He seems like a great guy. I just don't think he's going to make the roster.
Yeah. I think it'll be 6 and at the very most 7. Yeah. I think it'll be 6 or 7. And I think it'll be 7 just because if you keep John Ross, I was talking about it a little bit earlier. You don't know what they're gonna, do with John Ross on special teams. Yeah. And if he's not a key contributor on special teams, then you need your back of the end receiver guys to be able to do it. So I can see them keeping Austin Mack.
I'm just looking at this ESPN roster right now. Can we talk about the fact that Nate Solder is over Andrew Thomas in this ESPN depth chart? I'm sorry. ESPN.
You said Nate Solder is above Andrew Thomas?
Yeah, on the depth chart at left tackle on ESPN's website. That is
not
accurate. What?
No. What? No. So Matt Parrott is starting on their website?
On right tackle, and Nate Solder is above Andrew Thomas at left tackle.
So they I could understand if they put him at So Matt
right
Parrott
tackle.
apparently is better than Andrew Thomas. Like Nate Solder didn't bounce Andrew Thomas to the other side. He bounced him to the bench.
I don't even understand that at all. And then we got Zach Fulton starting over Will
I mean-
Hernandez. If he was starting over Shane Lemieux, maybe, but over Will Hernandez, that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's really strange. But Irish Mike, I don't see teams keep 7 wide receivers a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to keep 6, so keeping one extra. I mean, last year it just seems so weird because last year we spent a lot of time only having like 4 wide receivers active, which was ridiculous to me.
I mean, at one point, I remember, I think it was against Washington, where we had a couple injuries, and all of a sudden we literally
Evan Engram had to be our number 2 wide receiver.
Right. We had 2 receivers and then Evan Engram, I think it was. And we were literally locked into 21 personnel, which was interesting. Also, I saw an interesting poll on Twitter of who is the fullback going to be. Is it going to be Elijah Penny or Cullen Gillespie? I think a lot of people are a little too sentimental for Eli Penny right now. It's going to be Gillespie.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I mean, if they go out and sign a fullback that early and free agency, yeah.
And plus, Gillespie is a really good fullback too.
But some people think some people think that they'll keep both, but I just don't see that. I
can see it. Definitely.
I mean, they do kind of different things.
Yeah.
But
for me,
because some people see Eli Penny as more of like a big running back than a fullback. So
yeah. For me, it's more just I think Joe Judge is the kind of guy that wants to have 2 fullbacks on the team. But, you know, it's neither here nor there. We're talking about.
I'm still waiting for the Adrian Peterson signing. That's what I've been wanting.
The Adrian Peterson signing. God.
People keep on saying that Adrian Peterson is old and writing him off, but everywhere he goes, he still looks exactly like Adrian Peterson.
I disagree with that.
To me, this is the biggest crime that has happened in NFL history. He talked about breaking Emmitt Smith's record like 7 years ago, and ever since then, every year there's some shenanigans that happens to Adrian Peterson. At the prime age of 86 years old, he was destroying defenses behind the Washington offensive line.
I am going to disagree with you here. I do not think that's the real Adrian Peterson anymore. It's shades of Adrian Peterson. And it should be noted, shades of Adrian Peterson is still better than a lot of running backs in the league.
And that's my point.
But if you're talking about Adrian Peterson like he's still going to put up a 1,000-yard season, I don't think so.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm talking about using Adrian Peterson as a depth piece. As if Saquon goes out and we have Devontae Booker and Adrian Peterson, I think that's a good tandem.
See, the thing is, I don't even see him as much of a depth piece. I see him more as a veteran. I would say if Adrian Peterson could teach Saquon a little more about how to be more of a running back and less of an athlete, that would be what I would bring him in for.
Yeah. That's the number one reason.
I don't think he's the guy that I want as my backup running back necessarily listed on the depth chart. I think that's why we brought in Booker. But I guess there is something there. He's just not a guy that I'm laser focused on.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, 2019 for Washington, he played 15 games. He got 898 yards, averaged 4.3 yards a carry. So, I mean, he's not, of course, 2,000 yards, Adrian Peterson, but he's still pretty good. And that's the number one reason I would bring him in is for the veteran kind of leadership.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with this roster. Obviously, we're kind of just hypothetical situationing this whole thing. When training camp rolls around, we'll have a lot more definitive things to talk about. But I heard you talking about Evan Engram for a few minutes there. So, yes, he has been a liability on this team. I understand that. I think as much as I hate Evan Engram so much, and I understand why everyone else does too, I think, and I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, I think in this new situation where he is no longer the number one option on offense from a skill position standpoint, I just realized I am not talking through a microphone because I don't have it plugged into my laptop.
It sounded like that, but I don't know. It just didn't connect in my head either.
I'm really smart. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Evan Engram, back to that. I think in this new situation where he is no longer the number one option, he's not being relied on as the number one option, he's going to do a lot better. When teams have to focus on a guy like Kenny Golladay, on explosive threats like Saquon Barkley and Kadarius Tony, it's going to put him in a lot better situations to succeed. When he gets in that number one-on-one threat, not number one, when he gets in the 1v1 threat in the seam, that's where he's going to thrive. If he can just use his speed, get vertical, beat slower DBs and linebackers. That's where you want to put Evan Engram. When the offense has to run through Evan Engram, you're going to have problems. I think, it seems obvious, doesn't it? Tell that to Jason Garrett. Anyway, I think at this point, now that we've loaded up this skill team, and now that we have more reliable guys like Kyle Rudolph, who you can look to be a possession receiver, you can just have Evan Engram be Evan Engram and just say, okay, here's your one-on-one with the DB in the slot, beat him. That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's where you're going to see him do better.
Exactly. Like I said, if he can just not be accident prone, he's a top 5 tight end. It's. I mean, last year he got over 100 targets.
Yeah.
I mean, and last year again, he's going from last year being the number one option because I don't think he was technically the number one option. I think with Shepard there, he was the number 2, but Shepard was always injured and he wasn't always healthy. So at that point, he became the number one option. Now he's going to be behind Golladay. He's going to be behind Shepard. And people are going to be worried about Saquon. And people are going to be worried about Daniel Jones running. So it takes a lot of pressure off of him. And I don't think he does well with it. And he's going to go see that sports psychologist. Hopefully that works for him. If he can just not be accident prone, I mean, at worst, he's a top 7 or 8 tight end in the league. Because even with his stats last year, they were up there. Not the touchdowns, but the catches and yards, definitely.
I think with Evan Engram, I dare say that, and obviously this isn't. I think the best comparison for hands in the NFL is like a pitcher's fastball. You can make it better to a certain extent. On some level, when you cut down to it, when it all boils down, you can't teach hands, and Evan Engram does not have hands. So the whole point there is, like you said, minimize his opportunity for accident proneness.
I disagree. I think when you talk about hands, I mean, like, I call that the literal ability to catch the ball. Like, if he's relaxed and it's out, everybody's, throwing the ball and stuff, some people are just going to drop the ball, and even the most relaxed. Like, I think John Ross, his drops aren't because, like, oh, I'm in this big situation and I have to make this catch. His drops are like, I'm just dropping passes. Ted Ginn, who just retired, his drops were like, I just can't catch. And I'll just catch the next 80-yard bomb.
I'm sorry, let's be honest. Engram, so is Evan Engram sometimes.
I don't think so. I think we've seen that like 3 or 4 times in his entire career. I think every drop that you see, I understand that, but the wide open drops are the drops that are in your head. I think that can be easily turned around. Well, not easily because it's in your head, but I think when he drops the ball, it's him looking at Daniel Jones and saying, I ran my route, I got open, and I'm wide open. Now I have to make this catch. And you see him tensing up before the ball gets there. But usually when Evan Engram is just playing football and he's just running his routes, he doesn't drop passes. Like he only drops passes when like you're like, this is an easy catch.
I don't agree. I mean, we must be watching 2 different Evan Engrams because listen, if that was true and the only passes he dropped were the ones where he's wide open, there's no one near him, it's just, okay, it's me and the ball, oh no, that I would tend to agree with you, that's just a mental thing. But he drops him in traffic, he drops him wide open, he drops him deep,
and
he drops him
short.
Saying. So,
and that's what I'm saying. When you look at his drops, they're usually when he's wide open and he has to think about it because like it's all the pressure for him to make the catch.
Well, he drops him in traffic. It's when,
in traffic, but it's in traffic when he turns around and he's looking at the ball. Like anytime where it's like he looks at the ball and he watches it come to him, that's when he drops it.
I mean,
other times where he, like if he's running his route and it just ends up on him, he usually doesn't drop the ball.
I can think of like 3 times last year he did that, 2 of which were interceptions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When he watched it come to him.
No, like when it was just on him. because it was a short dig. Sorry, not a short dig, a short drag or a short slant. Goes right through his hands. I mean, that's my point here, is that if it was just a certain situation where he was dropping the ball, I'd understand, but he drops him all over the place in all sorts of situations. I think it's his hands.
I don't know. I mean, at the very least, I think it's his hands as well as his mental state, because I see him physically tense up when passes are going towards him. It's like, it's like, I mean, you're not really that big of a fan of basketball, but it's like if someone is like shooting and then they shoot air balls and then they just like kind of hide in the corner and don't want the basketball anymore. That's what it seems like. Like he just is trying to make it seem like he's out there, but he doesn't want the ball to come towards him because he's scared that he might drop it.
I understand the point you're trying to make and the metaphor you're using here, but for me, Evan Engram seems like a guy who he can't catch the ball. That's just what it seems like to me. We're going to have to agree to disagree here. But Wyland Plug says, Diggy's right. Evan Engram made a couple crazy catches last year. He just drops wide open. Yeah, that's a problem. That's bad. And again, if this was a one-year thing or he was coming off a rookie season or something like that, you can make excuses, but up to a certain point. I think it's fair to say we've reached the point where there's no more excuses to make, because he drops him in traffic, he drops him wide open, he drops him all the time. And if it's been happening for all these years, sure.
Well, I mean,
he turns around. And if you want to be
fair, he's had drops he had a problem with drops in college too. So
yeah, that's more to my point, which is that like this isn't something that I would assume is something you can just work on and fix. I don't think Evan Ingram's going to be a guy that can just get on the jugs machine for an entire offseason and all of a sudden, boom, he can catch the ball.
And that's my thing. I might agree with you with that, because with Evan Engram, the way that I see him and the way that, like, the kind of person that he is, he's probably on the jugs machine right now.
Probably, yeah.
Like working as hard as he possibly can, because he seems like that kind of person. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you might be right. But Greeny is still arguing with you about Hernandez.
Yeah, we're arguing about Will Hernandez right now.
Because he went to the bench, first of all, because he was on the COVID list. And he literally said in an interview, and it was a casual interview. It wasn't like I'm making excuses interview. He said that he didn't really start to feel like himself until about February. Yeah. So there was a reason that they put in a fifth-round pick over someone who, I mean, he had struggles, but he wasn't awful.
I mean, Greeny Green, I have no idea who you are. I have no idea where you are, but I will bet you we'll do it like Kush. I'll put a case of due on the fact that Zach Fulton does not start over Will Hernandez this year. It's not happening.
I don't know. I think there's a possibility that Zach Fulton would start, but I don't think it's over Will Hernandez.
Yeah, maybe possibly over Lemieux, if Lemieux just cannot figure out how to pass block and Joe Judge is not having it, maybe. But Zach Fulton is not starting over Will Hernandez. That's not happening.
Yeah, this is facts.
I don't think so.
I still think there's people that value him. And if there was really a second round pick out there for Evan Engram and we didn't take it, I'm upset about that.
Yeah, that's not good. I'd be really disappointed in that.
I'm upset about that.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna say it's likely, but it's not impossible either, because the Giants staff has been saying all offseason long how much they love Evan Engram, how he's part of the plan. And I was like, yeah, sure, maybe it's posturing. Maybe they're just saying that so he can get trade value for him.
And that second round pick could have been Pat Freiermuth.
Right, exactly. And it's like, okay, if they wanted to trade him, they probably could have traded him by now. And if they're really going to ride it out for him, that is their decision, man.
Yeah, that's one double-edged sword philosophy. What do you think about it? Because they've kind of been transparent as like, we're not going to trade people who we think are like veteran leaders on this team in the middle of the season, because it's not good for camaraderie. It shows that we have our guys back. And one way it does show that, like, you know, if you're at your job and like they have an opportunity to improve, but they say like, we have our guys' backs first, so we're not going to trade this. But on the other hand, you're like losing out on a bunch of value. Yeah. So what do you think about that?
I mean, for me, when you talk about trading any player, it's always just got to be, can you win the trade? And at that point, I don't think there is winning a trade with Evan Engram. That's why I said I didn't want to trade him very much, because I just didn't think you were going to get any value for him. Now, if you could get a second-round pick for Evan Engram, absolutely. I just don't think you will. Again, it's not impossible, and if they did, I'd be pretty disappointed if they didn't make that trade. But with Evan Engram, I think just even as, I dare say, not, this is a poor word, but a gadget player, kind of more of a specialized role type guy of just stretch the defense, attack safety, man-to-man, I think you're going to get more value there than you would in picks. But with the Kyle Rudolph signing, I think that's more towards what we were talking about with getting Evan Engram the right opportunity to succeed. And if you can do that, by all means. But there was another opportunity to trade last year, which was, I'm pretty damn sure they're going to trade Kevin Zeitler if Will Hernandez didn't get COVID.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
They were teeing it all up. They signed that guy Kenny Wiggins as like a depth replacement. They were getting ready to put Shane Lemieux and Will Hernandez at the guard spots and move forward for the rest of the season. And then Will Hernandez got COVID, and they were like, well, can't do that now. Because they were definitely going to trade Kevin Zeitler midseason.
Yeah, it seemed like they were like excited to get rid of Kevin Zeitler. Like that was the first thing they did. They were like, we're going to get rid of Kevin Zeitler and use his entire cap thing to go get all of our free agents.
Yeah.
That's what they did this year.
And I got to say, I was understanding of letting Kevin Zeitler walk initially, but then I saw where they were pulling money out of their ass for these other guys, and I'm like, wait a minute. Kevin Zeitler would not have been so impossible to re-sign, and that's a move we probably should have made.
Well, the thing is, they would have had to get Kevin Zeitler to take a massive pay cut for this year. What they did is they cut Kevin Zeitler and like the $11 million that they freed up for that year.
It was
12. They spread out like exactly the 12. Like Galladay got like 3. Adoree Jackson got like 3. All of those guys got paid from that cut. So like, it's kind of difficult to get someone to first, take that huge of a pay cut. And then if you cut him and try to sign him back, I mean, like at that point, he's like, I want to go to a winning team. So
to clarify what I'm saying here, I think we could have retained him at his contract, which was granted probably too expensive for him, but we could have afforded to keep him as a luxury, as a veteran, stable offensive guard, considering where we were just throwing money around this offseason. I think we could have afforded to do that. I understand not doing it totally. And in the beginning, I was someone who was screaming from the rooftops to save that discount. And everyone was saying, oh, we don't want to cut Zeitler. He's our one good offensive lineman. And I was one of the only people saying we should have done that. Like, I wanted to cut Zeitler initially, and then I saw how we were just throwing money around, and I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't think it's possible to keep Zeitler. Like, there's no way we keep Zeitler and sign those guys. Like, there's no money for it.
I actually definitely agree with him here, which is, if we would have done one thing, I would have rather kept Dalvin Tomlinson.
That is an argument that you can make.
If there was
Zeitler
one thing,
I think is literally, like, not happening. Because
I guess
we use Zeitler's contract. We use that money to do it. So for that to work, we would have had to come to Zeitler and say, can you restructure your money to where you're only getting paid like $2 million this year? Or will you just take a complete pay cut and rip up the contract and redo it? So I think they probably did that. And he said, I'd rather just go somewhere else and just get paid more and be on a team that I feel like can win easier. Mm-hmm. But the Tomlinson thing is 100% correct.
Tomlinson,
I really feel like we could have. Now, Adoree Jackson, I think, is a really good cornerback too, but I would have paid Tomlinson over Adoree Jackson. That's just me.
It's not even that to me. I think in terms of some of the other guys we signed and sort of working the margins and that kind of stuff where we were restructuring deals, we were finding money where there was no money. If there was one thing we should have done, I think it's kept Tomlinson. Just because, and I was one of the people screaming from the rooftops to keep Dalvin Tomlinson and Leonard Williams. Like, so a lot of people don't remember this somehow because it was only a few months ago. It's amazing. A lot of people don't remember. There was a time, a mystical, magical time, only a few months ago, where we all thought the salary cap was real. And then this offseason happened, and it was revealed to everyone that no, it's fake. It means absolutely nothing.
I'll stand on that. Remember I said months ago, I said, if the Giants want to sign Kenny Galladay, he will be a Giant.
You said it.
The salary cap does not exist. It literally doesn't, because I literally
You
sat
saw
here.
what most of us did not.
Exactly. I literally sat here and I watched Jerry Reese go out and sign Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie when the Giants had $1 million in cap space.
I mean, what we
And he
should have
was one
seen
of the
is
top corners on the market.
even besides that, what we should have seen is the Saints, who have been pulling this crap for years.
They were negative $70 million.
The salary cap isn't real, and we all realize that. And the point is, if you want to talk about where they cut costs and found money and pulled the bills out of the couch cushions, yeah, they did that. But in a lot of those cases, I think that money should have gone to keeping Dalvin Tomlinson around. And before a lot of us realized that the salary cap wasn't real, I was one of the people who said, listen, I would rather keep Dalvin Tomlinson and Leonard Williams than sign a receiver if it's one or the other. Obviously, at this point, we realize, we can do that and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was sort of one or the other for a lot of us. And I would have rather kept the front seven together. Dalvin Tomlinson is just so underappreciated by so many people.
We're going to realize the difference week one.
Nothing against Danny Shelton.
G Nation, I'll probably stream again next week, but I'm going to get out of here soon because we're coming up on 2 hours.
Nothing against Danny Shelton in any way, but Dalvin Tomlinson is so underappreciated. He always does his job. He always gets push. He's great against the run. He collapses the pocket and gives guys like Leonard Williams a chance.
Exactly.
He's an invaluable part of that defensive line. And I am of the opinion that when you have something in the league that works, you need to stick to it, personnel-wise. And when you have a front seven that was working like it was last year, you can't take away. You have to add. And we added Azeez Ojulari, and we added at the edge, but we lost in the middle. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I did a defensive line ranking, and the Giants kind of fell down because we didn't have Dalvin Tomlinson anymore. So, I mean, Shelton, I think, will be solid, but Dalvin Tomlinson is like a playmaker in the run game. Like, we're going to miss some of those plays. Yeah.
Shelton is a solid run defender, He's a solid nose. He'll anchor. He will not get moved. But Dalvin Tomlinson was a playmaker. And Dalvin Tomlinson up the middle could do things Danny Shelton could not. Dalvin Tomlinson was dynamic. Danny Shelton is static. And I think you're going to see a lot of that immediately. It is what it is.
Yeah. But, I'm going to probably end it right here. We're coming up on an hour. But thanks for everybody that popped into the chat. Thanks, Nate, for coming on. I guess we were on for about 30 minutes. But, I'm going to be back next week. Hopefully we can talk about some training camp stuff. Some stuff will actually be happening. But until next week. All right.
Am I crazy, or did he not end the stream? Yeah, he did not end the stream.
That's not how you end the stream. I just left the studio.
Yeah, I was very confused there for a second.
But let me get out of here. All right.